Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My name is Syahidah binti Saimi, metric number 1817744. So today, I'm gonna share with you guys the mind-blowing deep sea facts. So stay tuned. As we all know, the deep sea is the largest habitat on the planet, taking up to 95% of the Earth's living space. Yet, it is the most unexplored environment, despite being one of the most amazing places on the planet. We know very little detail about the deep oceans due to the depth and the difficulties to the scientists. In fact, we know more about the surface of the moon rather than the depth of the ocean. Where exactly is the deep ocean? So we go to fun fact number 1. Scientists have divided the ocean into 5 main layers, known as zones, extend from the surface to the most extreme depth where light can no longer penetrate. This deep zone where some of the most bizarre and fascinating creatures can be found. As we dive deeper in these largely unexplored places, the temperature starts to drop and the pressure starts to increase. The following diagram lists each of these zones in order of the depth. First layer of the ocean is known as the sunlight zones, extend from the surface to 200 meters. This is where most of the visible light exists. Below the sunlight zone is the twilight zone. It extends from 200 meters to 1000 meters. The light that penetrates this depth is extremely faint. It is the zone that we can see the twinkling light of bioluminescent creatures. A great diversity of strange and bizarre creatures can be found here as well. The next layer is called as the midnight zones. It extends from 1000 meters down to 4000 meters. Here, the only visible light is produced by the creatures themselves. The pressure here starts to increase, or the pressure here is very large. It's surprisingly reach 5,850 pounds per square inch. In spite of the pressure, a large number of creatures can be found here. Sperm whales can dive down to this level in search for food. Most of the animals that live here are black and red in color due to the lack of daylight. The last layer is called as the trenches. It extends from 6,000 meters to the deepest part of the oceans. The deepest part of the ocean is known as Mariana Trench. The temperature here is just above freezing and the pressure is an incredible 8 tons per square inch. This is approximately the weight of Boeing 747. In spite of pressure and temperature, life can still be found here. The next fun fact is the ocean is deeper than the Mount Everest. While a handful of people have briefly scaled the Mount Everest, the highest point of the Earth, even fewer have ever descended to the deepest part of the oceans. The deepest point of the Mariana Trench is known as the Challenger Deep. The distance from the ocean surface to the bottom of Challenger Deep is almost 11 kilometers. If Mount Everest was put into these chasms, it would still be more than a mile from breaking the surface of the water. At the depth, the temperature is always just above freezing. The pressure is more than 1,000 times what it is on the surface, and many bottom-dwelling fish and invertebrates call it home. This point on Earth is 11 kilometers in Mariana Trench near the Mariana Island. Located near Guam, the Mariana Trench is the deepest known submersible trench. It is also the deepest known location on the Earth itself. The deepest part of the trench is known as the Challenger Deep. It is named after the British Royal Navy survey ship HMS Challenger. The 3 people have visited the depth of the Challenger Deeps. Film director James Cameron reached a record depth of 35,756 feet in a solo submersible dive in 2012. Cameron is likely collecting data specimens in 1960, when the only other explorer to reach Challenger Deeps returns after seeing little more than the slit stirred up by the bathyscaphe.
The Challenger Deep, which is only a small part of the Mariana Trench, is something like 50 times the size of the Grand Canyon. So, this is a vast, frontier down there that's going to take us a while to understand. The whole sub actually squeezes down almost 3 inches in length when it gets to the bottom of the ocean, just because of the pressure. And the sphere that I'm in actually shrinks. The window that I look out actually pushes in toward me under 16,000 pounds per square inch of pressure. It was very lunar, very desolate place, very isolated. My feeling was one of complete isolation from all of humanity. I mean, I felt like I literally in the space of one day have gone to another planet and come back. Any of the animals that live there are adapted to this extreme pressure, this total darkness. They're usually white, they have no pigment, some of them have eyes to see bioluminescence, some of them have no eyes at all. It's a completely alien world.
Another fun fact is the organism of the ocean produces its own light, which is bioluminescence. Bioluminescence is a light produced by a chemical reactions within a living organism. Bioluminescence is a type of chemiluminescence, which is a simple term for a chemical reactions where light is produced. Bioluminescence is a cold light. Cold light means that less than 20% of the light generates thermal radiations or heat. Most bioluminescence organisms are found in the oceans. These bioluminescence marine species include fish, bacteria, and jellies. Some bioluminescence organisms include fireflies and also fungi. Next fun fact is underwater waterfall. Mauritius is home to one of the most mysterious natural phenomena on the planet, underwater waterfall. Just off the southern tips of the island, you will find what can only be described as an underwater waterfall, with what looks like water cascading to the depth to the ocean's floor. But all may not be exactly as it seems. What you are witnessing that looks like an underwater waterfall is actually sands from the shores of the Mauritius being driven via ocean currents of the high coastal shelf and down into the darker ocean depth of the southern tip of the island. This incredible sight, particularly spectacular from the air, is not just natural playing and optical illusions on Earth, but also a fascinating natural occurrence on its own right.
There's something so majestic about waterfalls, and those are just the ones you can see. But what about the ones you can't see? This is really an amazing wonder. Off the island of Mauritius in the Indian Ocean is what appears to be an underwater waterfall. Yes, that's right. From the air, the feature is even more prominent. Mauritius Island sits at the southern edge of the Mascarene Plateau. Unfortunately, you're not looking at a real underwater waterfall. What you're witnessing is actually sand from the shores being driven by ocean currents off of the high coast shelf and down into the darker ocean depths, off the tip of the island. That said, it's a real feast for the eyes, one that lets our imaginations run wild. I'm Matt Sampson, the Weather Channel.
Everyone's heard the story about Bermuda Triangle. The mysterious tales of ships and planes going missing in these infamous regions have been told for centuries. Triangle, what triangle? Okay, first thing first. There is nothing official about the Bermuda Triangle. It is not a registered territory. It is not even shown on maps, but it is understood that it stretches from Miami, Florida, to the island of Bermuda and to San Juan in Puerto Rico. A mystery since the 50s. The earliest instances of unusual disappearance in this area were reported in 1915. True that there have been a lot of strange disappearances? Only between 1945 and 1965, Wikipedia stated that up to 5 planes crashed in this area and that 10 ships sank or disappeared from 1890 to 1963. Other pages or websites reference much longer list. Next fact. Deep sea fish is called Greenland shark, which has a length of 6.4 meters. Often mistaken for great white sharks because of their massive size, they reach up to 24 feet in length and weigh up to 1,400 kilograms. Very big, right? Greenland sharks have a voracious appetite and will eat almost anything. Typically, they eat lungfish, flounder, and other small sharks, but they also eat the meat of the dead animals. They have also been known to eat land animals. Fun fact is, here is the granddaddy of them all, the giant squid. The giant squid live as deep as 100 meters below the ocean and can grow up to 64 feet long. That's 3 feet longer than your average school bus. Can't you imagine taking a giant squid to the school? Amazing, right? The next fun fact is the ocean is full of gold. There is around 20 million tons of gold dispersed throughout the water of the ocean. It is, however, got diluted with only a few parts per trillion. The ocean floor has also undissolved gold embedded in it, but it is not cost-effective to mine it. However, if it were equally distributed among every person on the earth, everyone would receive 9 pounds of gold. Currently, there is no cost-effective method to remove the gold from the seawater and be profitable. However, that didn't stop many eager inventors and investors, both legitimate and also scammers. In the 1890s, Foster Fort Jernegan came up with a plan for a gold accumulator in Fever Dream. The plan was to extract gold from the Long Island Sound using a process involving mercury and electricity treatments.